rob me? Do it look like they're gonna take me somewhere and sell me somewhere? Y'all seen tape. Hey, it's your girl Don. Thank you so much for watching. If you're new to my channel, on my channel I usually talk about fashion, travel, and fitness, if I can get to the gym. And in this video, I'll be sharing 6 tips for traveling solo. Many people have been asking me, how do you get past fear as it relates to traveling solo? So I've compiled 6 tips to help you give you that extra push to actually travel solo, because honestly, it has been the best experience of my life. I haven't had kids, I haven't been married, so it's been the best experience of my life, and I will yell from a rooftop, go travel solo, because so many things are revealed to you about yourself when you are by yourself in a foreign place. And I will say, you don't have to go, to a whole nother country. You can go somewhere domestically, right here in the States, if you are living in the States, or go to a new city, wherever you are, a city that you've never gone to. You don't have to go completely out of your norm. Start small and then, travel further. But just being by yourself, I think, is just an experience that everybody should at one point in their life experience. So let's get right into it. My first tip will be to trust yourself. And I started there because trusting myself is what really helped me to take my first trip. So my first solo trip was to Rome, Italy. And I'll put some pictures of my time while I was there. I think I went in 2018 or 2019, one of the two. And it was such a great time. Like, oh my God. Like, oh my goodness. I was so happy that I went. So I'll tell you how it even started. So I was subscribed to a blog called Travel Noir, and I believe they're still around, but their owners are different. And it's a blog that focuses on the Black experience of those who are traveling. So they used to send out flight deals via email, and I seen a flight deal leaving New York because I was living in Queens at the time, and it was round trip for $350. So I'm like, okay, looked into it, and yes, round trip from New York to Rome for $350. And I said, okay, that's too good to be true. If I look at accommodation, that's when it's going to be too much. Started to look up accommodation, different hotels, and I landed on this one hotel, and I think it was called Excellent Suites. Excuse me. And it was like $300 for how long I was staying. I think I stayed there for 5 to 6 days. It was $300 for my stay. I said, okay, so what am I going to be living in, like a place with a whole bunch of roaches and rats? No. The reviews were so good. I seen pictures of the room. I'm like, oh my God. And it was in like a central place. I'm like, $300 for my hotel, $350 for my flight, less than $700 to go to Rome. I have to go. But I was completely scared. Like I knew this was something that I always wanted to do, but the idea that it was actually like gonna happen, I was scared. So I reached out to my mentor, and I was like, look, this is what I want to do. I know if you've traveled solo before, like, let me know, tell me what to do. And she was just like, girl, just do it. And I was like, okay, thank you. I mean, okay. So she was like, just do it. Like, I don't know, it's either you're gonna do it or you're not gonna do it. And I was like, okay. So I booked my flight, and I literally was like shaking as I booked my flight, because I had spoken before about solo traveling, and it was met with a lot of resistance from my family members. They were like, no, you're not going, no. And I'm like, and it was just coming from a place of fear and concern for, my well-being. but they were like flat out no. Me, I'm the type of person, don't tell me no, because if you're gonna tell me no, I'm gonna do it. And at that time I was of age, so what do you mean no? So then, like, even with that in the back of my mind, I was like, I'm gonna book this trip, but I'm gonna still ask a friend. So I asked 2 friends. They were unable to join me because literally I booked it a month beforehand. They were unable to join me, and I was kind of happy about that because I really wanted to go solo, but I did my due diligence to say to my family, I did ask such and such, and they were able to come. So I was shaken, but I did it, and I remember it was my 2 aunts and my mother, and we were going out to dinner, and I was like, I'm going to let them know that. And I had to tell myself, like, humble yourself, because they're going to be saying things that you may not want to hear, but stand your ground and humble yourself. So that's exactly what I did, and I told them, and one of my aunts was like, oh, no, you're not going. And I was like, I'm not asking. I'm letting you know. I'm going November, such and such date. Start praying if that's what you're into. Start praying for my safety now. But I said my first tip was trust yourself, because in that moment I had to trust that I was going to be okay. I was going to know how to handle myself. I was going to know how to navigate a foreign country. I had to trust that at how I was raised, and my experience as a whole would help and sustain me in a foreign country. I have the privilege of being from a big city like New York, so Rome to me has similarities there. So I know how to navigate through a big city. I'm familiar with taking public transportation. So the only true difference was that I don't know Italian, and it is just a country that I've never been to. But I knew that I can navigate myself around Rome. And I had been to Europe before then. So I was familiar with big cities in Europe and how transit works and how to get around, stuff like that. So, but I really had to trust myself, because I'm just like, all the points that my family and friends were making about why I shouldn't go were valid. But I knew deep down inside, this is something I needed to do for myself. This is something that I needed to experience. And I just had to trust myself that everything was going to be okay. And I was truly blessed. And let me tell y'all, my family was praying, but I was praying too, because my experience was so great. Like, oh my God. I got there and I had forgot my phone. Was it my phone or my wallet? I lose things all the time, so this is not out of the norm. But I forgot my phone in the Uber. And I'm like, oh, heck no, this is a sign. I gotta go home. But the Uber guy, we got in contact with him, and he was nice enough. Was it my wallet? I forget what it was. But he was nice enough to come back and give me my phone. But from there on, it was like easy breezy. I had a beautiful room. The hotel, it was like a boutique hotel. It was small, but I felt safe. And like I said, it was in a central place. It was in a real central place. So a lot of the things that I wanted to visit was in walking distance. So I was like, this is great. And so like everything, like once I booked my trip and then actually went to Rome, everything just flowed. Everything happened like so easy. And I'm just like, wow, imagine if I didn't do this. I wouldn't have been able to experience in the way that I experienced it. I find that traveling by myself and traveling with friends and family is a little different. For me, I know that I'm always thinking about, okay, how are they feeling? What do they want to do? Just thinking about, the other people that are there. Because you certainly can't be selfish when you're traveling with people. But when you're traveling by yourself, you can be as selfish as you want to be. You can do what you want to do. You can do what you don't. You can not do what you don't want to do. You don't got to worry about nobody but yourself. And I think that makes for a really great experience. And I will say, traveling by yourself is not for everybody, but at least experience once in your life. My second tip would be research the countries that most solo travelers visit. So some countries that come to mind would be the UK, Bali, Singapore, Japan, Morocco, places like that, or even just Europe. Well, I'm gonna name the places I've gone. Amsterdam, Italy, I would say London, France are all good places, and I'm only speaking from my personal experience, that welcome solo travelers. And I think that would be a great place for you to start. Like most research places that Black women feel comfortable, if you are of color, or women feel comfortable traveling alone to. And it will just help you, to feel more comfortable about where you're going, because other people have gone by themselves and they were able to navigate the city but also feel safe while doing it. So definitely research countries that most people solo travel to, and then use that as a guide when you're picking your country or your place. Or it doesn't always have to be a country, like I said before. It can be just a city or another state. Just look at different places people have gone, and that will inform your decision. Next one will be make an itinerary. When I went to Rome, when I went to Amsterdam, any place that I go, literally, I make an itinerary. I know where I'm going. I know how far it is from where I may be staying. I make a really detailed itinerary, just so I'm not like, looking around, like looking like a tourist. Like I know it, even though I'm going to tourist attractions, I'm moving with intention. I'm not looking around like, oh, where should I go? Write out an itinerary. You may not hit everything, but at least you have something to guide you while you are wherever you are. Write out how much Uber will cost, or Lyft, or whatever the car service is over there. Or, whether if you're taking public transportation, really do some research on what public transportation looks like. When I'm in Europe, I personally like their public transportation. It's reliable, it's clean. Hello. So I like it, and it usually travels, good timing. Like you don't have to worry about not staying out too late because you might miss a train. Well, you won't have a train home. They usually travel around good timing. So research that, but do an itinerary. And it really helps you to have, a more structured day, as opposed to just roaming around. That's what I prefer. Some people may like to just wing it, but I prefer a detailed itinerary. And with that itinerary, it will help you to make sure you're hitting everything within a time frame. So I like to start my days early. I would get up around 7 o'clock. And reason being is that when it gets dark, I'm not roaming. So, I know when I was in Amsterdam, forgive me, but I don't remember the name of the area that I was staying in. But it was like 20 minutes from City Central. So oftentimes I would be getting home late. But a lot of the things and it could just because the sun, went down early. But a lot of the times I did a bulk of what I wanted to do during the day. And then if it gets dark and it's getting late, I'm on my way home. And that just made me feel more comfortable. Certainly there are times when I remember I went to a cooking class when I was in Italy, and that was at night because we were making dinner. So there are some times where their events are going to be at night, but if that is the case, make sure you do your research on where you're going. Make sure somebody that knows where you're going. Send them the address, send them the people that you might be meeting up with, just in case, just to be safe. But I like to do a bulk of my activities during the day, daylight, where it's a lot of people. It makes me feel comfortable. Next one would be keep your purse inside your coat. or don't keep like loose change in your pockets. I remember when I was in London, excuse me, I got the burps. I was in London, and like we was at wherever the Queen lives, we were there, and we were waiting for the change of the guards. And it was like the police officers walking around was like, there are pickpocketers in this crowd, be careful. So, and that's just you'll hear that anytime you travel, you know, in Europe. They're known for having a high volume of pickpocketers, pocket pickers. So be careful. So I used to keep my purse inside of my coat, but you know, if it's summertime, you're not wearing a coat. So if you feel comfortable, put it in your bra. Have a little fanny pack where it's in front of you, as opposed to on the side of you or on the back. But try not to have too much loose change. Don't put it in your pocket. Don't have it laying around, because there are pickpocketers and they might get you. And then last but not least is have discernment. You know, when I go to certain places, yes, I have a really detailed itinerary, but sometimes there have been days where, you know, I'm just walking to another place and I see something else and I, you know, go in there, and I, you know, it takes me other places other than where I thought I would go. So it's really good for you to tap into discernment. So you like, if somebody invites you out, or you know, you decide you want to go somewhere else, use that discernment to lead you there. Tap into discernment. You know, should I go? Scope out the scene. Does these people look reliable? Do they look like they're gonna rob me? Do it look like they're gonna take me somewhere and sell me somewhere? Y'all seen Taken. Just use discernment with whatever you're doing.